Blog Talk Radio.
Next guest name is Mary A. Molloy, and she is an author herself. Her book is entitled Life Planning for the 21st Century, which should also already be out on Amazon and in bookstores. Mary, welcome to Wellness for the Real World.
Mary, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you, Veronica, Dr. Veronica?
I'm so fabulous and excited to talk to you about your new book. And so let me just tell everybody a little bit about your background so we can understand where you came from, because you have an interesting life path, too, to this Design Your Own Destiny. Go ahead. Tell us a little bit about Molloy.
Thank you very much. I started out as a business person, and I was the first woman to sell computers for IBM in the New York Garment District. But actually, I have a math background. I was a math major. I taught junior high, high school, and college math. I had 3 pregnant 12-year-olds when I taught in a rural ghetto in upstate New York, and decided that life was more than a bunch of kids. You know, it was very, very difficult because they didn't want to be in the class. So now I work with big kids. So as a business person, I've traveled all around the world and actually have worked with 11,000 people in 39 countries. And I work with corporations like Microsoft, Motorola, Hewlett-Packard, companies like that. And now I work with people in all kinds of paths in their life, from their business plans to their life plans.
So, Mary, that's very interesting. I was just listening there. You were the first woman to sell computers for IBM in the Garment District. That's really quite a that's almost like a first walk on the moon.
Well, it was quite challenging at the time. That's for absolute sure. It's really funny because as I approach life, I look at life from the point of view of how do we get to where we want to go. Whether it's a business or a person, it's the logic of trying to achieve whatever it is that's going on in your heart and your mind. And so my math background allowed me to use that in business and in personal life to go where I wanted to go.
Yes, well, I'm going to comment because I got back on. Mary, you had an interesting life, and I don't know if you shared this while I was dialing back in, but you had the death of your spouse occur, and that really impacted your whole life where you felt like, I'm not going to make it. I just feel so miserable. Talk a bit about that.
My husband, Michael, and I met while we were both in IBM. And I was 12 years younger than Michael. And Michael was my best friend. He was my husband and also my business partner. We ultimately went into business together. So we were together 30 years. We were married 28, together for 30. 6 years ago, Michael died of esophageal cancer, and he had had a lung disease 6 years before that. So it was quite a long situation for Michael where his health was going downhill. Because we were so tied together 24 hours a day in our business life, in our work life, in our love life, in our marriage, in our kids, Michael's death threw me for the hardest loop that I've ever gone through in my life, where I basically had to say, do I really want to be here? And in truth, I kept saying, do I really want to be in this world, or do I just didn't want to be here. I had to make a choice. I had to make the decision. You know, if somebody is unhappy enough, believe it or not, they can leave. And I had to make the decision that I was going to stay. And ultimately it came to that decision. I need to stay. I have work to do, and made the decision to stay here and to thrive.
And you and Michael wrote another book that was a bestseller together. Tell us a little bit about that, because it's a great book.
Yeah. We wrote a business bestseller called The Buck Starts Here, Profit-Based Sales and Marketing Made Easy. And yes, it was a business bestseller. As I said, I basically worked with over 11,000 people in 39 countries between our business planning and our life planning. And so because of that, I've written with corporations over $4 billion in business plans with them.
Wow. So now you are now helping people redesign their destiny, and you've had some interesting experiences working with very, very downtrodden people. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah. So what happened was in 2003, I was asked to speak to 25 homeless women in Manchester, New Hampshire. And if you were suddenly faced with saying, hey, you have the opportunity to speak to 25 homeless people, what would you say to them? I mean, you can't say, keep a stiff upper lip, because that's absolutely ridiculous. So I thought, I need to create something for them. I need to create something that will get them from here to there, wherever there is for them. And as I was creating this tool, and I took my business planning methodology and I applied spirituality and metaphysics, and I came up with a life planning methodology, I realized that no matter who the human being is, the most important part of life is that we have to focus on balance. We have to start with our own balance in life and see if we're in balance or out of balance. Whether you're homeless or you're not homeless, it doesn't matter. Are you in balance or are you out of balance? Figure out your balance point, see if you are in or out, and then figure out how to bring yourself to balance and move yourself forward. So I took 8 homeless women, and within 6 months, 5 of the 8 were no longer homeless. And everybody went, oh, my gosh, you're on to something. That was 9 years ago, and since then I've done hundreds of life plans for people all over the world. And as it turns out, I'm going to actually go in and do plans for 8 more homeless women in the next 3 days.
Now, you work with somebody very famous now, or have consulted with somebody very famous who absolutely loves this work that you're doing now. So why don't you share a little bit about that experience?
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm working with Stedman Graham. Stedman Graham is a powerhouse. He is, people know Stedman through Oprah, and Stedman and Oprah have had a relationship for a long time, 25 years. But Stedman, in his own right, is a very powerful person. He is quiet, and yet when he speaks, you need to listen, because gems and pearls of wisdom just come out of his mouth. And so he's been working with me because he said he believes in me and believes in what I'm doing. And so he's been working with me and helping me on my book, and he's endorsed my business planning, my life planning methodology.
And I was just like, whoa, that's sort of a really big endorsement, because this is a man who, like you said, in his own right has seen and helped a lot of people, but also because of the woman that he's in a relationship has also seen a lot of stuff. So when you get an endorsement from somebody like that, it's just not like only your next door neighbor saying, oh, I think that's good. So I know that there's a place that people can go to start trying to figure out whether they're in or out of balance. So share that with us just so the audience has that information up front and where they can get the book.
Oh, yes, please. Thank you. Well, if you go on my website, which is Mary, and it's Mary, and then A, and then Molloy, and that's Molloy, MaryAMolloy.com. If you go on there, you'll see that there's actually a free life balance self-help test that you can take. And it's a really fun, interactive test. So go on my website, take the free test, see where you are in terms of your own balance point. Then you can go into more depth on your own balance point and then create your own life plan. Design Your Own Destiny is on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble. It's on IndieBound, which is a whole bunch of independent bookstores and booksellers. So it's available through my website as well. And Design Your Own Destiny really helps someone to create the life of their dreams. It really helps you to formulate and create based on who you are and where you are right now, where you want to go and how do I get there.
I know you were on the phone or on the line listening to Dr. Felicia Bender. Did you learn anything about yourself and your your husband had passed away and your current life based on listening to her?
Yes, I was actually laughing because I'm a 5, so I'm a thinker. Well, yeah, that's a math major. But I have to tell you that the creativity, what happens is, and that's part of what I do in my life, is the creative and just create. My husband, Michael, that died, is a 1. He also was a thinker. She was talking about 1, 5, and 7 being thinkers. And my husband, Paul, I'm remarried and to a wonderful, wonderful man, and I'm so blessed and he's a psychiatrist. My husband, Paul, is a 3. He's creative. So I was listening and enjoying what was being said, and I think that some of it is valid. It's very cool, very interesting, and extremely fun.
Yeah, I thought that you Miss Numbers would love the numbers thing going on.
I love numbers. Please, for your audience, you don't have to love numbers to use my methodology, okay?
Yeah, it's interesting because Mary's like really into numbers, but she has this book that's very practical and spiritual, but not so spiritual that you get off into the woo-woo. The book really helps you figure out where am I in or out of balance and how do I get where I want to go. And that's why I said I wanted to have you on because I like the numerology so people can figure out, okay, well, maybe this helps me figure out who I am, but now I'm having issues. And so how do I figure out how to solve these issues and get on the right path? And that's why I actually put Mary on with Dr. Felicia Bender because that was my thinking about the show. So, Mary, thank you for going with my eclectic thinking, and Dr. Bender, thank you for going with my eclectic thinking. So I like to tell people my thought process behind putting certain guests together. So, Mary, what would you find, you've been working with groups of people like nurses, and nurses being healers and caretakers, you have some experience. So for people out there who are healers and caretakers, talk about the balance in their lives and some of the type of strategies that you would recommend based on your life balance planning.
Yes, absolutely. I do work with nurses. I work with any different kind of job that you're looking at that's particularly a stressful job, but it doesn't even have to be a stressful job. Everyone has work. We generally tend to have our work lives and our personal lives. And the question you have to ask yourself is, are you in balance in your work life and in your personal life? And sometimes the things that affect your work life come over and affect your personal life. And what's going on in your personal life 9 out of 10 times might be affecting your work life. Happens all the time. So when we look at it, we look at the balance between those two lives in a person's life and see if that also is in balance. We have created, now I don't know if you know, Dr. Veronica, that October is National Work-Life Balance Month. It's and that's so cool because we named October 17th as National Work-Life Balance Day. And in that day, on October 17th, if anyone goes on www.nationalworklifebalanceday.com, you can actually see that we're going to be having some webinars around balance in life, balance in work life, and balance in personal life. And I'll be showing the tool of the balance in life in the webinar so that anybody that wants to join can actually use the tool and join in with me, and I'll show them how the tool can be applied to their lives.
Ah, that's great. So on the date of October 17th, this is going to happen?
Yes, October 17th of this year, and it's going to happen at 12 o'clock Eastern Time and also 3 o'clock Eastern Time for anybody that's on the West Coast. And we're going to be holding a webinar so people will be able to tune in, and I will actually be demonstrating and showing the balance tool so that they can then apply it to themselves and see if they're in balance or out of balance.
Okay, so tell us again where we can go get that, because that sounds like a great resource.
Yes, it's www, then write out the word National Work-Life Balance Day, nationalworklifebalanceday.com. And on that, you will basically go into a site where you will actually be able to take the Life Balance Self-Help Test, but then I'll actually show you the tool that you can use to figure out your own balance in life, figure out if you're in balance or out of balance, and then I'll discuss strategies on how you counterbalance. Let's say you're way out of balance in a certain area, or you're slightly out of balance. How do you strategically and consciously and intentionally live your life so that you can counterbalance and bring yourself back into balance?
Yes, we all need to know that. And one of the the economy being the way it is, a lot of people are out of balance because, say for instance, like, I told you about my husband who's been unemployed a bit after losing a job because of the situation that has been going on with companies struggling. So if you're going through a situation like that where you end up unemployed or you have a spouse die or you work with women who are homeless, how do you get in balance when you're having these really extremely trying situations?
Yes. So there are 4 points that I look at when we're creating a balance point in a human's life, and we look at any of us. We have to stay in balance in our minds and in our intellects. We have to stay in balance in our physical world. This is our health, and it's also our wealth. We need to stay in balance with our spirits. This is something bigger than us. And that if you're an atheist, that's okay. You can still be in balance. You have to say, are you in balance with something bigger than you? And then our emotions. What you are just relating to is a physical imbalance in the material world. That's your husband's, it could be a wealth point with the loss of a job, or it could be the death of a spouse. Again, a physical world, but then that affects emotional. It affects so many other things. When you're going through that kind of a loss, the question you then ask yourself is, okay, I'm out of balance. I acknowledge I'm out of balance. What can I do to consciously counterbalance and help myself to get through? So let me give you some examples. Counterbalance of a death of a spouse. Sometimes people have to do things that make them feel happier, like going out and being with people. Now, they might not be ready initially, but it may come to the point where they have to handle it emotionally, where they actually have to fill the hole in. Some people will go into spirit. They'll go to church. They'll counterbalance with church. People with financial difficulties. And believe it or not, in some of the homeless people, they say they're in balance. Even though they're homeless, they say they're financially in balance. It depends on the individual and how they look at it. They may need to counterbalance by learning some things, applying themselves on their minds, taking their minds off the problem. Johnny Cash was a drug addict. He was basically almost drowned in his own food. He needed to use his spirit, the love of his wife, and his mind to take him out of his addiction every single day. So it's consciously and intentionally using counterbalance strategies to bring yourself back into balance.
Thank you for that, Mary. Again, tell people the places where they can go. National Work-Life Balance Day, October 17th, webinars by Mary helping people strategize about their life, and also her book, Design Your Own Destiny. So Design Your Own Destiny,
yes.
Correct? Okay.
Design Your Own Destiny, and then MaryAMolloy.com, MOLLOY.
And National, say the website again?
National Work-Life Balance Day.com.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Mary. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.